You ever done something bad? For a 7-month period, I lived exclusively off these microwavable burgers I nabbed from a service station in Kent. Now that was bad. But have you ever done something really bad? Were you sorry you did it? I call this story Cold Read. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the bit of butter Betty bought was bitter. Many slices, many slices. Right. The many slices of Lommy. Lommy the bard. Lommy the bard.
Rafe? Hello, Rafe? Can you hear me? Do you think you're ready to give it a go now?
What the fucking hell am I doing here?
Sorry, Rafe, I can't quite hear you. You're going to have to speak louder.
I said let's go. Let's get on with it. Places to be and all that. Are we good to go? Thumbs up. Great. The many slights of Lommy the bard. Once upon a time in a land far removed from any other, there rested a town cut off by sea and cornered by mountains. A town that had never seen war, never seen strife, famine or greed. But sadly, this long-lived peace was not to go undisturbed, for an outlier in this delicate community soon reared his mischievous head, an outlier known as Lommy the bard. The bard sang more beautifully than any other, but there was a cool fuck.
Is everything all right, Rafe?
Yes, fine. I'm fine. The bard sang more beautifully than any other, but there was a cruel streak in him, something within that never allowed him to see the grief he caused those around him. And the townsfolk soon learned there was nothing they could do to change this. When the bard trapped a troupe of actors inside a wagon during the winter solstice festival, the townsfolk had him locked in the stocks for a week. And when the bard prowled the streets, stalking the local butcher's girl, the townsfolk had him on the rack. And when the bard taught the local children rude words and crude songs about women, when he stole bread, jewellery, undergarments, and anything he could get his hands on, and when he relieved himself down the townsfolk's chimneys, seemingly at random, the townsfolk exiled Lommy. And the exile broke the bard's heart, but his voice prevailed still, echoing across the mountains and the trees, as Lommy walked amongst them, waiting for his exile to end. The townsfolk began to fear that the tossing fucking arsing thing...
Rafe, are you sure?
No, everything is not all right. I'm having trouble. Can you tell me what this is for again?
It's for an audiobook.
Yeah, I got that. But what... Who wrote the thing? What's the...
Oh, yes, sorry. Well, we actually don't know who wrote it. It's part of a new collection of obscure, lesser-known folktales from all around the world. And so what you're reading there is a Bosnian folktale written about 100 years ago called The Many Slights of...
Lommy the Bard, yes. Never heard of it.
I did say they were obscure. The basic idea is that...
Just for the record, yeah, I'm planning on getting a very expensive Regency-style conservatory put in later this year.
Okay.
That's why I'm here, you see. I'm not spending my day in a grotty, seemingly derelict recording studio in Staines out of financial necessity or anything like that, all right? I've actually never done this sort of thing before, audio work, I mean.
That's fine.
See, I'm really not that sort of actor. I used to be on TV all the time back in the day. You know, have you ever seen Swallowhorn? No. It's just a TV series I starred in back in the early 2000s. In the lead role, I should say.
That's very impressive, Rafe, but I'm afraid we do have a very strict timetable.
Oh, there's a timetable, is there? Forgive me. Here I am, wittering on. It did well, though, Swallow Hall, ITV Sunday night slot. Short-lived, but it was ahead of its time in a lot of ways, you see. A different calibre of TV altogether, really. The thinking man's...
Rafe, I really would love to chat.
Yes, of course. The timetable. Can't forget about the timetable again, can we? Where was I? The townsfolk began to fear that the bard would never change. And so in their desperation they captured Lummy, tied his hands and legs together as tight as they could, and strung him up in the town square with a noose around his neck, just high enough so that the tips of his toes could keep him standing. The townsfolk came to him then and gave Lummy a choice. He could either apologize for his sins and truly repent for them, or he could stay in the noose until he lost all balance and hanged. And so, every day, one of the townsfolk would stand before Lummy and tell him of the pain he had caused them. And every day Lummy would sing them a song. This continued on for nearly a fortnight, and with every passing day the stories told would grow more fraught with anguish, as Lummy's song softened into nothing more than a whisper. On the final day of Lummy's torment, a grieving mother came, pleading for him to simply apologize, but he refused. And as his remaining leg buckled, and as the rope tightened around his neck, through gritted teeth he hummed one final song, the ballad of Lummy the Bard.
Okay, that was great, Rafe. Really nice. Just got a couple of things. I think you may have missed a paragraph there at the very end. Quite a key paragraph, actually. So, is everything all right, Rafe?
I know what this is. I understand now why this stupid little story bothers me so much. I get it. Say, Deborah. It is Deborah, isn't it?
Well, it's actually Hilary.
Perhaps it is. So, Deborah, Swallowfest 2019. Ring any bells?
I don't think...
Want me to jog your memory, do you? Swallowfest 2019, the 7th annual Swallow Hall fan convention, where a rude, unworthy fan made a comment during the cast Q&A about the trajectory of my hairline.
It was only the one paragraph you missed, Rafe. It'll just
As a consequence of this, I stormed out early, prompting dozens, possibly maybe hundreds of rabid fans to swarm my Range Rover in the car park. And people laugh. But I seriously feared for my own safety that day. And so I did what I had to do to escape, which is when a few fans may have gotten some bumps in the process, a couple of scrapes maybe. 2 or 3 did go over the windshield, which, you know, I admit isn't really ideal. The Swallow Hall audience demographic does tend to skew towards an older generation, but it wasn't my fault, clearly. And yet certain fans never seem to realise that, did they?
If this is some sort of reference to your TV show, I told you, I haven't seen it.
Right. And I'm supposed to believe that, am I? I've had fans accost me in the streets, throw eggs at my house. Making me read some silly story designed to get in my head is exactly the sort of thing one of those twisted windbags would do.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure. I understand the material is a little challenging in some areas, but how about we just give it another quick read-through, yeah?
I'm not bloody reading it again. I gave ample warning for you people to move. I beeped many times. I waved. I waited long enough, even for someone on a Zimmer frame to dart out of the way. It was not my fault.
For Christ's sake, I haven't seen your flipping show. I'm not a crazed fan.
Well, you look like one. You've got the frizzy hair, the beady eyes, and you're mousy. That's it. You are mousy.
The story isn't about you, Rafe. It's a folk tale. It's not real. It was written hundreds of years ago in Bosnia, and I don't want to harp on here, but I really don't have the time to faff around today, okay? And I'm sorry if there's something about the message of the story that's upsetting to you, but...
Something about the message? What message? There's no bloody message in this.
Well, it's a folk tale. All folk tales have a message.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not thick. The story of Little Red Riding Hood, now, that's a message. Stay away from strangers. Simple, clear, concise. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, same thing. Respect people's personal property, easy. Jack and Jill, don't be the village slut, watch out for big hills. Now those stories have a message. But this one, what bloody message am I supposed to be taking away from this?
I don't know, do I? Obviously it's gotten under your collar, so you must have some idea.
No, I'm not doing that. Come on, you tell me.
OK, well, I suppose the way I interpret it, the story's about the dangers of people not taking responsibility for their actions, and that sometimes, no matter what you do...
That's dynamite, that is. Let's start torturing people for failing to apologise. Parents are going to love that one for the kids.
It's interesting that you see it that way. See, I thought of it more as showing the damage people's actions can have on those around them.
No, that's rubbish. This Lommy chap, what did he ever do to deserve all that?
Well, like I was saying, you did skip a paragraph.
I don't see how that makes a difference.
Surely that depends what's in the paragraph. You read through the whole thing, didn't you, when I was off getting the coffee?
Yes, I told you I did, didn't I?
Including the paragraph you missed. Why don't you like this story, Rafe?
How do you mean?
Well, you seem very adamant on not reading it.
Yes, because it's shit. I told you that.
Is that what's made you so upset?
No, I thought you were one of those manic obsessive freaks, didn't I? Which I still haven't ruled out, by the way.
But even if I was, is it really worth getting that upset over a harmless prank from a fan? These stories are designed to make us reflect on ourselves, to help us realise our failings, and to grow from them. Do you realise anything about yourself?
Is this part of the timetable then, eh? A full fucking psychological evaluation. Is that in there somewhere? Have I realised anything about myself? What is there to realise? What do you know about me, eh?
Why did you skip that paragraph?
I don't know. I must have forgot.
No, you didn't.
You fucking... I don't know who you are, but...
I'm the assistant producer on this.
I don't care. Whoever you are, you need to stay out of my head. I'm not a guilty person. I don't need to reflect on myself. I don't need...
Then why don't you want to read the paragraph?
I will. I fucking will. Because it doesn't matter to me, love. I don't care. I once kicked up a fuss to get a catering manager on set fired after he teased me for not liking couscous. What do you think of that? Because that was nothing. I've done worse than that. I once called Dame Judi Dench an uppity cow, even though she's actually rather nice. I killed a dog backing over it in my Range Rover, blamed it on some builders. I tried to fight an usher at the theatre for putting watery ice in my gin and tonic. I force-fed Philip Schofield a Cumberland sausage at a hotel breakfast buffet in Aberdeen. Before he came out, I should say. But it was still out of order. I've done it all, Hillary, and it doesn't haunt me because everyone's got sins. Even you, you mousy bitch. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Just let me, where is this fucking... Then, right. The final slight of Lommy was still to come. Oh, very fucking ominous. One fateful night in the depths of summer, when children laughed and played on the streets, the bard took to his cups. He drank and drank until he'd forgotten every song and every face that despised him. Then, in his drunkenness and his folly, he stole the blacksmith's wagon and rode it through the town, tearing across the street corner and terrorising those who remained awake. For Lommy. Oh, Lommy.
Rafe?
It didn't... Oh, no. It didn't happen like that.
Finish the paragraph, Rafe.
What is it?
It's just a story, isn't it, Rafe? It was written hundreds of years ago in Bolivia.
Something's wrong. I don't feel...
Stay awake, Rafe. Just a little longer.
Who are you?
The bard rode the wagon through the town, terrorising those who remained awake.
You said it was written in Bosnia.
For Lommy didn't care. He didn't care about the blacksmith, whose wagon he stole. He didn't care about the townsfolk, whose sleep he interrupted. He didn't even care about the little girl who...
No. No,
whose
please.
broken body he left on the street behind him, an innocent girl who never hurt a soul.
It was dark. She shouldn't have been there.
And whose family would never forgive.
Can you hear me now, Rafe? Rafe, can you hear me?
What have you done to me? Jesus fuck. You tied my fucking legs together, you sick evil fucker.
Oh, good. That's a relief. Oh, watch your balance. You hit your head hard when you collapsed there. I was a bit worried you'd never wake up. Really should have considered that when I was deciding what sort of dosage to slip in your coffee.
Let me down! For fuck's sake, let me down!
You know I can't do that, Rafe. You know what this is. I've got the studio all booked out, so there shouldn't be any surprise visitors. You'll have plenty of time to think things over. I lied earlier, by the way. I have seen your show. I thought it was shit. I still know a lot about you, though, Rafe. In a way, I guess that sort of makes me like one of your fangirls. I'm obsessed with you. Have been for 2 years now. I've thought of nothing else. Do you ever think about me, Rafe? Standing on the other side of the courtroom, tears streaming down my face.
Hillary, please.
Please, is it? She was 6 years old. She was 6 years old, and you got to walk away. I thought by doing all this, I might be able to get you to understand, I won't say any more. What else is there to say? You know how the story ends.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Goodbye, Rafe.
No. Oh, no way. I said I was sorry. I'm sorry.
The many flights of Lomi the Bard. Once upon a time, in a land far removed from any other, there rested a town cut off by sea and cornered by mountains. A town that had never seen war, never seen strife, famine or greed. But sadly, this long-lived peace was not to go undisturbed. For an outlier in this delicate community soon reared his mischievous head, an outlier known as Lomi the Bard.
Cold Read was written by Liam Gamble and performed by Sally Swift and Steve Newman. It was directed by Liam Gamble and produced by Heather Graham, with sound design by Ross Weston. Effects editing by Ryan Ristick. Thank you for listening.